The small town of Millfield had always been the kind of place people described as safe. The kind of town where doors were left unlocked, neighbors waved from porches, and police sirens were so rare that when one blared, everyone stopped to wonder what was wrong. That peace shattered one humid August evening when the body of 27-year-old Emily Harper was discovered. Emily wasn't just another face in Millfield. She was beloved. A bright, outgoing young woman who worked at the local library and volunteered at the community center. When she didn't show up for work one Monday morning, her friends grew worried. Hours later, a jogger spotted something unusual near the wooded trail behind the park. It was Emily. She had been murdered in cold blood. Police rushed to the scene, but from the very beginning, things felt off. The crime scene wasn't secured quickly enough, and evidence was already compromised by curious onlookers. Rumors spread fast. Was it a robbery gone wrong? A jealous ex? Or something far more sinister? The townspeople wanted answers, but the local police seemed overwhelmed. They gave vague statements to the press, avoided specifics, and asked the public for patience. But patience was something the internet didn't have. Within 48 hours, the case of Emily Harper had gone viral. A Reddit thread appeared on a true crime forum under the title, "Unsolved Murder in Millfield. What really happened to Emily Harper?" At first, it was just a place for locals to share updates. But soon, thousands of strangers from across the country joined in. They analyzed news articles, combed through social media posts, and even tracked down people connected to Emily. And while the police continued to fumble in the dark, Reddit began connecting dots no one else had noticed. What started as a discussion thread was about to turn into something far bigger, an online investigation that would shake both the town and law enforcement to their core. As the days dragged on and official updates became scarce, frustration began to build online. People wanted answers, but the police stayed quiet, refusing to release much information to protect the integrity of the investigation. That silence only fueled curiosity. Enter Reddit, the digital playground where millions of anonymous users gather daily to share stories, opinions, and, in some corners, theories about crimes. Started small. A Reddit user created a thread in a popular crime discussion forum, simply titled, "Unsolved Case. Who killed victim's name?" At first, the post received modest attention, but within hours, hundreds of people began chiming in. Some lived in the same city, others had experience with law enforcement or forensic science, while many were just armchair detectives eager to piece the puzzle together. Reddit quickly transformed into a virtual crime lab. Users uploaded maps of the area where the victim was last seen. Someone posted time-stamped photos from a local traffic camera they had dug up online. Others tracked down obscure social media accounts of people close to the victim, analyzing every word, photo, and emoji for hidden meaning. It was chaos, but out of the noise came surprising order. One user pointed out inconsistencies in the timeline provided by an acquaintance of the victim. Another noticed a strange vehicle parked in the background of photos taken near the crime scene. Within days, the thread had grown into thousands of comments, with theories being dissected and reconstructed in real time. And then came the first major breakthrough. A user who claimed to live near the area uploaded a grainy picture of a car that looked eerily similar to the one mentioned earlier in the thread. By cross-referencing it with public vehicle records and social media profiles, Redditors began narrowing down potential suspects. What had started as idle online chatter was now a coordinated investigation, one that, surprisingly, seemed to be moving faster than the official police work. But with every new discovery, the danger of misinformation loomed. Some Redditors accused innocent people, their names dragged into the spotlight without proof. Others worried that releasing too much detail online might tip off the real killer. It was a double-edged sword. The crowd was solving pieces of the puzzle, but the very nature of an open forum meant the truth could easily get lost in speculation. Still, the community pressed forward. For many, this wasn't just about solving a mystery. It was about proving that ordinary people with internet access could uncover what professionals could not. The Reddit sleuths were motivated by more than curiosity. They were driven by a sense of justice and maybe even a little competition. And soon, Their relentless digging would uncover something that would change the trajectory of the case forever. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. As weeks dragged on, the police investigation seemed to hit a dead end. Detectives repeated the same press conferences. We are pursuing multiple leads. The case is ongoing. But to the online sleuths on Reddit, those vague statements only fueled determination. They refused to let the case fade into another unsolved mystery. Then it happened. A post appeared in the subreddit late one night. "I think I found something." The user, who went by the handle TruthSeeker1989, had zoomed in on one of the photos police had released of the victim's abandoned car. At first glance, it looked like a smudge on the passenger side window. But with contrast adjustments, the faint reflection came into focus. It looked like the outline of a man's face. The community went wild. Dozens of users downloaded the image, enhancing it further with filters and software. Soon, a sharper picture began to emerge. Was it the killer, a bystander, or simply a trick of the light? Reddit's amateur detectives debated endlessly. But then another user noticed something even more striking. A partial license plate reflected faintly on the car's bumper. It was barely visible, but enough for a determined group to start cross-referencing vehicles in the area. Within days, someone matched the plate to a truck seen in the background of a local news interview near the crime scene. The pieces were coming together, faster than law enforcement ever anticipated. The tension escalated. Some worried they were crossing dangerous legal lines by posting possible suspects. Others argued that without this digital digging, the case would be buried in cold files. The subreddit grew into a buzzing command center, each post inching closer to what felt like a breakthrough. And then came the message that shifted everything. "I know that truck. It belongs to someone I used to work with. And you need to hear what I know." The line between speculation and chilling reality was about to blur. The tip about the truck changed everything. Redditors were electrified. Suddenly, the investigation wasn't just theories and speculation. This was concrete, something that tied a face, a vehicle, and a location together. The user who claimed to know the truck's owner posted more details. He described the man as quiet, short-tempered, and living only a few miles from where the victim's car was abandoned. The information spread across the subreddit like wildfire. Screenshots, maps, and timelines were compiled into massive threads. Some users even began digging into the suspect's social media, uncovering posts that seemed disturbingly close to confessions. But while Reddit was connecting dots at lightning speed, law enforcement appeared to be lagging behind. Weeks had gone by, and still no arrest had been made. Frustration boiled over online. Commenters accused the police of being incompetent or deliberately ignoring leads. Others warned that amateurs risked ruining the case by doxing the wrong person. Then came the turning point. A local news outlet picked up on the Reddit investigation, publishing a story about how internet detectives were solving the murder in real time. That put pressure on law enforcement, and within days, police finally announced they had brought in a suspect for questioning. It was the truck owner. Suddenly, the Reddit community was split between pride and unease. Had they truly cracked the case? Or had they interfered with an investigation that was already in motion? The line was murky, and the stakes were deadly serious. When the suspect's arrest was officially confirmed, Reddit exploded in celebration. Posts flooded in with titles like, "We solved it before the cops," and "Proof the internet is unstoppable." But in quieter corners of the subreddit, some users began asking hard questions. Had their obsession with solving the murder pushed law enforcement's hand too early? Could the case collapse in court because of leaked evidence online? And most unsettling of all, had they gotten lucky this time? Or would their methods one day ruin an innocent life? The triumph of Reddit's amateur sleuths came with an aftertaste of doubt. They had solved a murder, yes, but in doing so, they exposed just how fragile the boundary is between justice and chaos in the digital age. And for some, the real mystery lingered. Was the killer caught by the police or by the internet? The arrest brought relief to the victim's family and vindication to the Reddit sleuths who had spent sleepless nights piecing together the case. But the story didn't end with handcuffs. What followed revealed the messy, complicated truth about justice in the digital age. When the case went to trial, the defense team seized on Reddit's involvement. They argued that online vigilantes had tainted the investigation. News articles about the suspect, his truck, and even his alleged social media posts were all over the internet before police had fully built their case. The defense claimed this created bias, poisoned the jury pool, and jeopardized the suspect's right to a fair trial. Prosecutors, however, leaned on the evidence that was impossible to ignore: DNA traces in the victim's car, security camera footage of the truck, and testimony that placed the suspect near the scene. The digital trail the internet sleuths uncovered had accelerated the investigation, but it was still the hard evidence that sealed the case. The jury returned a guilty verdict. The suspect was sentenced to life in prison. For the victim's family, it was the justice they had been waiting for. For Reddit, it was a victory but also a cautionary tale. The case became a landmark moment in the debate over online investigations. On one hand, Reddit had undeniably pushed the case forward, shining a light on leads the police might have overlooked or been slow to pursue. On the other, it raised disturbing questions. What happens when online detectives get it wrong? Who takes responsibility if an innocent person's life is ruined by internet accusations? And should law enforcement embrace or resist the power of digital crowdsourcing? In the end, the story of the murder solved by Reddit wasn't just about a crime. It was about a new era of justice, where ordinary people with laptops and determination could rival entire police departments. Some celebrated it as proof of the internet's power. Others warned it was a dangerous precedent. But one truth remained. In this case, the killer was caught and justice was served. Whether it was thanks to Reddit or in spite of it, depended on who you asked. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell.